ever feel like your life is just ordinary? Uninteresting, even? Here's a thought. Maybe that's where all the magic is hiding. In the mundane. We are all surrounded by stories. Stories that feel small. And sometimes it's easy to think that they don't matter. Because after all, why would you document moments that seem so forgettable? But if you look closely, if you take the time to slow down a bit, you start to see that it's actually in these ordinary moments where life can be most interesting. Your life is chock full of stories, waiting for you to uncover and maybe even share as well. I remember spilling coffee earlier today. It's a small thing and probably uninteresting, but there's a story to be told there. It was actually the second cup of coffee of the day. It was needed because I got up pretty early to write my morning pages. I'm in week 3 of The Artist's Way, which reading that book and working through the course is a separate story all in itself. These running shoes, they tell a story. They help me feel a deeper connection with myself through running and being in nature and enjoying my surroundings as part of my morning routine. It is pretty blustery out here today, but it's nice. It's like fall in Florida. Everybody's out because the temperature is down. And this second cup of coffee actually survived. I really needed it today. Like I said, it was an early morning, and at this point in the day, I need a little bit of caffeine, a little bit of a pick-me-up, and even this little mug, has a story in it. It's from a company that's called Douwe Egberts, and it's a coffee company that originated in the Netherlands. And this mug, my mom saved up for me. So you have these redeemable points that are on the coffee packages and on the tea packages. And my mom was so nice to save those up for me and then complete the set of the 6 of these mugs. And I have 6 tea mugs of a different kind, 6 other coffee mugs of the kind. And it's just so nice that she did that for me. So this mug has a lot of memories to it. It reminds me of home because I'm Dutch and I'm here in Florida. Sometimes I miss home. So there's that story behind it. There's the story behind it that it connects me to my mom and it makes me think about her, which is really nice. She's so nice. She just does that for me. So every little thing can have a story behind it. Even something that's seemingly boring, like a coffee mug, can have a really interesting story. I used to think that I needed this super full, interesting, adventurous life for it to be worthy of documenting and for it to be worthy of sharing. And even though I started this channel as a reaction to a life-altering event, right? I quit my job. I wanted to have a completely different lifestyle, and then I want to be a content creator full-time that makes money off of this. That was a big event, and that is what started this channel. But then I was am aspiring to a more of a slow living lifestyle, simplifying my life. So I thought that I would very quickly have nothing left to say. But I find that actually the opposite is true. I am finding so many interesting stories in the small things, in the little things that I otherwise would have thought were boring. There's so much meaning in the small things, the in-between parts that make up life, but they are so often overlooked. I was overlooking those in-between parts so much because I was rushing from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. And now that I have the time, now that I'm making time to actually pay attention to the small things, I see that those are really, really important. So maybe it's time for you also to slow down just a little bit, smell the roses, as they say, and see the interesting bits that are everywhere in between those small, seemingly boring moments. By documenting the boring parts, I feel like I'm not just capturing time passing, but I'm also appreciating everything a little bit more. By slowing down and really noticing the small things that make up your life, you are making space for yourself in a world that moves incredibly fast. Documenting your life doesn't have to be about only chronicling the epic adventures. It can also be about really starting to pay attention to your life. And capturing that life, the small, boring parts, will help you see that your life, the one that you might find so ordinary, is actually pretty cool. It's not about documenting for likes or views. It's about sharing because your voice is like a fingerprint. It's a story that only you can tell, only you experiencing it in that particular way. Even if you don't want to share at all, it's still worth documenting small moments in a video, in a photo, in a drawing, maybe even in a painting. Document in a way that speaks to you, that will be meaningful to you. There's value in both practices. There's value in sharing your experiences so that other people might find themselves in your stories. They might feel a little bit less alone, or they can see the world through your lens. For me, starting this channel, I just wanted to share who I am and how I am evolving and changing in a very tumultuous part of my life. Even though I am slowing down, it just feels very erratic on the inside, let's say that. I believe that when we share, we're building connections, and it's easier to relate to each other through ordinary moments, small moments, than through extravagant, big, adventurous moments. There's also beauty in documenting just for you and for nobody else. You can, for example, document in your journal. This is my travel journal, and it is a judgment-free zone. You are the only one that decides if whatever you want to document in here is worth documenting or not. Either it's your writings or your doodles or your sketches, whatever it is that you find worth it about the experiences that you think are worth it, you can put in your journal without worrying about it that anybody is ever going to judge you about it. Your journal can become your personal archive, a record of all the small things that are shaping you along the way. And it doesn't matter if those things never make it beyond the pages of your journal. In fact, I think it's important to keep some of those things just for you and you alone. It's just as powerful to record, document things only for yourself, only to remind yourself that your story has value, whether it's shared or not. The goal of documenting the small things is about really being present. It's about truly paying attention, being in the now. When we take time to notice, we capture these ordinary moments, and we're saying that this life, just as it is enough. And in doing so, we can give ourselves permission to slow down, to find meaning in what otherwise may have stayed unnoticed. So whether you share your stories or choose to document them for yourself, remember that these small moments are what make up the bigger picture. Life is not just you waiting for some grand adventure to begin. Your life is unfolding in every mundane, small, boring detail.